How can you grok and go when there's too much to know? In Digital Thriving, it's the Potent Quotable. Hello, and welcome to Digital Thriving with Weszt Hart, where we talk about tactical and practical ways to help the world thrive online. One of my favorite methods for making important topics easy to understand and remember is the aphorism. Aphorisms are short, pithy statements that help make the meaningful memorable. And if you've seen me speak before, you've likely noticed I love aphorisms. I create a lot of them. Well, at least where they're useful. And this is because aphorisms, or as I like to call them, potent quotables, force me to get to the point. Say the truth in the shortest, most memorable way possible. A quick side note. If the phrase potent quotables sounds familiar, that's because it's a play on the infamous term from the game show Jeopardy, potent potables, which some of you might know. The point is, in and around the Digital Thriving playbook, myself and others have created dozens of potent quotables, which are chock full of witty bits of wisdom. We'll likely create many, many more, because they help make real the unofficial slogan of the playbook, grok and go, which itself, at least to us, is pretty memorable. And since we have so many aphorisms, and will likely create lots more, I am inspired to introduce a new recurring theme in this podcast, the Potent Quotable. Here and there, we'll bring a new batch to the podcast. And so, without further ado, to help you grok and go when there's too much to know, here are our first 7+ Digital Thriving Potent Quotables. Number 1, they thrive, we thrive. This is a big one, and one of my favorites because it hits the heart of why thriving matters to gaming companies. I don't feel I'm oversimplifying by saying that your game essentially doesn't exist until players are playing it, and your business doesn't really exist until they stick around. So it's in our best interest as game developers to ensure players thrive because, say it with me out there, they thrive, we thrive. Conduct needs context is our second potent quotable, and it's a reminder that behavior doesn't happen in isolation. It's always shaped, if not directly driven, by the space that it's within. As Atkins, Wilson, and Hayes put it in their fantastic book, Pro-Social, one of the most robust findings in social psychology is that we tend to attribute bad behavior in others to personal intent, when in fact it is often due to situational constraints. Situational constraints in games are most often created by those making the game. To put it another way, and to possibly coin another aphorism, the game space shapes the head space. But that's a little long, so I generally say conduct needs context. Number 3 is old patterns get old results. This is about how, when it comes to disruptive behavior, a lot of folks are stuck. Many rely on old methods, but familiar methods that really don't do much of anything. As an industry, we often go with our intuition and stick with what we know, but what we know doesn't produce anything new. Many keep hoping that things like better detection, which we get, and more severe penalties, which feel good, will make the bad stuff go away. But the bad stuff doesn't go away. Not all of it. And to some extent, it likely never will, especially if we change nothing in the environment that we created. As an industry, we need to innovate and create new patterns because old patterns get old results. This leads nicely to number 4. Badness is blinding. Let me tell you a story. In the early days of what became the Digital Thriving playbook, we ran workshops to develop a taxonomy of positive behavior. We brought together folks from all across the gaming industry. And while overall it went well, some participants, folks whose jobs are to address online disruptive behavior, struggled to name even one positive player behavior. When we asked why they struggled, they said, because anything we build, players will ruin. And isn't that sad? I mean, anything we build, players will ruin? I mean, that broke my heart. Players do all kinds of positive things all the time. But when your job is putting out behavior fires, I believe it's easy to lose sight of anything good. All you see is danger. And so this potent quotable is a warning to everyone out there dealing with disruptive behavior. Badness is blinding. Take steps to step away so you don't lose sight of what's good in the world. Number 5 is about taking responsibility for the behaviors you see in your game. You designed it, you defined it. This is related to number 2, conduct needs context, but leans into ownership of the context. We make choices as game developers. Many of these are driven by time and budget constraints, and that's always a challenge. But in the end, we're responsible to a certain extent, but not totally, for the behaviors in our games because these behaviors wouldn't exist if we didn't make the games and put players in them. Furthermore, since situational constraints can lead to disruptive behavior, and we're largely responsible for those constraints, we can't ignore our role in some behavior problems. Yeah, I recognize that this sounds overly harsh, and I'm sorry about that. I'm not trying to be unfair. In fact, I'm trying to help. Our goal with this show and the Digital Thriving Playbook is that we can equip you to make smarter upfront choices within time and budget that lead to better behavior outcomes. As a bonus, for number 5, here are a couple of related aphorisms. You built it, you bought it, which of course is another way of saying you designed it, you defined it. But also, don't hate the player, hate the game. And yeah, I can't take credit for that potent quotable. Open mics are open season. This potent quotable targets the need to create some social scaffolding around things like voice chat. And since behaviors seem good during internal playtesting, they often let games go out the door without any sort of healthy influence or guardrails, aka social scaffolding. Though we don't have time in this episode to cover what social scaffolding can actually look like, the point here is a warning. Open mics are open season for disruptive behavior. With open chat affordances, you can rely on there being disruption issues if nothing was put in place to influence things otherwise. Where you can say anything, you can expect to see everything. Same applies to non-verbal open affordances, such as games where players have free rein to construct things. If players can build anything, they likely will. In these cases, since there's no microphone, you actually might want to use a different potent quotable. Free-form spaces have free-form friction. Finally, we get to potent quotable number 7. Trust is a must. Well, to be honest, we actually talked about more than 7 already, but whatever, it's just fun, right? Trust is a must is a mandate as a developer of online spaces. Trust is a must. So if no one trusts you, your systems, or other people in your space, they will leave, and rightfully so. There is a related potent quotable. No trust, no social. Take this to heart, all you social experience designers out there. Trust is a must because no trust, no social. There's not much to add to this, frankly. You need a design for trust, and you must be trustworthy. Strive for consistency at the very least. So that brings us to the end of Potent Quotables Volume 1. Let's go back over the 7+ that we discussed. They thrive, we thrive. Conduct needs context. And related, the game space shapes the headspace. Old patterns get old results. Badness is blinding. You designed it, you defined it. Another way to say that, you built it, you bought it. And one more related, don't hate the player, hate the game. Next, open mics are open season. For nonverbal open affordances, freeform spaces have freeform friction. Finally, trust is a must, and no trust, no social. Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you for joining. Please hit subscribe wherever you're watching, and I hope you're thriving out there.